All right, good morning. Welcome to semester 2 in Algebra A. Many of you had last semester. There might be a few new faces. So if you're new this semester, my name is Mr. Kosanke. Unfortunately, I am not here today. My wife had a appointment at the hospital, so I had to drive her there, and she had a procedure today and then drive her home. So I will be back tomorrow. Apologies for not being here the first day of the semester, but we will get rolling. So today we're going to start section 3.4, which is point slope form. This is very similar to slope intercept form. So when we did slope intercept form, your intercept was a point on the y-axis. And then from that y-intercept point, we calculated out the slope and we were able to graph our line. This is going to be very similar in that we are going to be given a point now. This x1, y1 will be a point on the graph. And from this point, we will calculate out our slope. So our how we do that, how we find slope, how we graph that has not changed. We do not have to find the y-intercept in this section. They are going to give us this point. So I am going to draw your attention to this first graph. You see that we have a line right over here, and we were given 2 points. So this point here, -6, -4. This point here, 2, -2. And two ways we can do this. We can count out the slopes. You can see we went up 2 and right 8. So that's one way to get the slope. Or we can actually plug this into our slope formula here and do -2 minus -4, which is -2 plus 4 for 2. And 2 minus -6, which is really 2 plus 6 or 8. So we get 2/8 for our slope either way, and that will reduce to 1/4. So now we have a slope, we have our m value, and we have a point. You can either use this point right here, or you can use this point right there, your choice. So we actually get two potential answers here. The first one, if we use this point, it's our slope times x. So you see our slope is 1/4. In parentheses, we have x minus our x2 value, or x1 value, excuse me. So x minus 2. And then this value at the end, the y1 value is whatever this point is here. So you can see I just made it -2. So again, x minus the first value, and then whatever the second value is, that's what you put at the end. So this is one answer. You could have used this point. If you did that, our slope is still the same. Slope is still 1/4. And then we will do x minus this value. If you subtract the -6, that's x plus 6. Then our y value here goes at the end, which is -4. So again, there's two possible answers here. You only need one. Just depends on which point you pick. So we have a point, 2, -2, and our slope. Or we have this point, -6, -4, and our slope. Again, the key takeaway in the parentheses, the x value is the opposite sign. So negative right here, positive right there, because we're subtracting it. So that is point slope form. You need a point on the graph, you need the slope, and from there you can graph. Okay, so here they give us the information, and now we are actually going to graph these lines. So I have a point, 5, -4, and my slope is 3, or 3/1. So I'm going to start by graphing this point. So you're going to see a red dot on the graph here. I'm going to go to 5, -4, and I'm going to put that red dot. So there you go, 5, -4, and I put a red dot. My slope is 3, which means up 3/1. So from this red dot, I went up 3/1, up 3/1. So typically we'll graph the given point, then at least 2 more points after that. So the difference here today, instead of starting at a y-intercept, we are starting at the given point. So we graph the given point, then from that point, we calculate the slope. So that is the only thing that is different from this section and last section. All right, second example on this page, very similar. So again, they've given us a point here. So we are going to start our graph at negative 3, 6. This time we have a negative slope, negative 2. Okay, so we're going to go down 2 over 5. So this line is going to run downhill as opposed to this one over here. In a positive slope ran uphill. So we're going to start with this point, negative 3, 6. So I will slide this down. So we start at that point, negative 3, 6. So there's the given point. Now from that point, our slope down to 5 to the right, down to 5 to the right. And again, typically we graph 2 points in addition to the given point. You can see this line runs downhill because of the negative slope. All right, halfway home for today. Okay, on this page it says identify the slope and a point on each line. So we want to, from the equation, they're going to give us the equation this time. And from that given equation, we want to identify the slope and the point. So here you can see, there we go, I'll move myself out of the way. So here you can see that we have 3 equations. We want to identify the slope, that's our m value. That is going to be the number in front of the parentheses. So for this very first one, our slope is going to be 2. For this middle one, our slope is going to be negative 1. For the third one, our slope is 2/3. Again, the slope is the value in front of the parentheses. So there is the first thing we're going to identify. So again, from the equation, we're able to identify the slope. Second thing says identify the slope and a point on each line. So our point is this x1, y1. And again, when we identify our point, we're going to do the opposite sign. So whatever sign it is in parentheses, we are going to do the opposite. And the y value, whatever sign is out here, that is what it is. So for our very first example, our x value is going to be the opposite of this, which is positive 4. Our y value is going to be 3. For the middle one here, our x value is going to be positive 9, so the opposite sign. Our y value is going to be negative 6. And for the third one, our x value, an opposite sign, is negative 8. Our y value is 7. So again, from these given equations, the slope, the m value, is the number in front of the parentheses. And our point, we have our x value, y value, and the x value is opposite sign of what's in parentheses. So 4, 3, 9, negative 6, negative 8, 7. So now we have our point and slope. They did not ask us to graph these, but we could. We would start at these points and calculate the slope from there. All right, at the bottom of this page, now we're going to write an equation given the point and the slope. So now it's just the opposite. Here they gave us the equation. We identified the slope and the point. Now we've got the point and the slope. They want us to write an equation. So we have our slope right there. We know it's going to be y equals negative 3. So there's our, let me move this down just a second. There we go. So this is the equation we're using. We've got our m value. We want to get our point here. I'll go ahead and slide this down. So the first one, y equals our slope, negative 3. Parentheses is going to be x minus this number, so x minus 2. And the y1 value goes at the end, plus 11. So the middle one, our slope is 3/4. So we will have y equals 3/4. x minus this number, so x plus 3, and then this value will go at the end. So x plus 3 minus 6. And our last one, here's our point, here's our slope. So y equals 7. X minus this value, so x minus 15, and then minus 1 at the end. So again, here we were given the point and the slope, put it in the equation. Up here we were given the equation, had to identify the slope and the point. All right, last page of notes for today. So now it says to graph the line. So again, they're going to give us a slope here. So we have a slope of 4, and that's going to go through the point -3, -5. Before we graph, we'll go ahead and write the equation. So again, we know our m value is 4, and we know our point right here. This is my x1 and my y1. So we'll go ahead and start there. So again, this is the equation that we want. We know m is 4. We know that x1 is -3. So when I subtract this, it becomes x plus 3 minus 5 at the end. So now I've got everything I need in order to graph this. We are going to start at this point. So I went to -3, -5, and put my point. And then I'm going to use my slope 4/1. So 4/1 and up 4/1. And again, we are starting from the given point. One more example today, then we'll be done with your notes. Same idea, we're going to graph a line with the given slope and given point. So we have a slope of -4/3. We have a point of -3/4. So when we write our equation, y is going to equal -4/3 and then we are going to have x minus this 3, so that's going to be x plus 3, and our 4 goes at the end, so plus 4. Again, now we can go ahead and graph this. We're going to start at this point, so we are going to graph -3/4, and from that point, so 3 to the left, up 4, start at that point, down 4, 3 to the right, make a dot, down 4 more, 3 to the right, make your point. So again, that's point slope form. You got a given point where you start, you calculate your slope from that point, and you got your line. And then here it is in the actual equation form. So that's the rundown for today. Your homework for tonight is worksheet 3.4 day 1, and we will see you tomorrow.